Good morning, guys. So I already tried. It's about 9 a.m. I tried to go up to Drift Creek Falls to see if the road was accessible. Unfortunately, it's not. The sign has changed until further notice. So unfortunately, we will not be heading up there probably anytime soon. So today, it's Sunday. I'm going to surprise Liz, my lady, and I'm going to get her coffee before we start the day. So let's get everything ready to go. We'll head out to the car and we will start the day. I got you a coffee.
Thank you.
You little cutie. There you go.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. Well, you have a great day, okay?
Thank you, honey.
I love you.
I love you.
You're so cute. All right. I got to get back to the house because I'm working on the smart car today.
Well, thank you. Your sacrifice is greatly needed.
Yes. Happy wife, happy life.
Heck yeah.
Look at you.
Life is good.
You're
Love
so
is
cute.
sweet. You're the bones between my meat.
That's not rated for YouTube. So, dropped off the coffee for Liz. I got me one too. We don't try to go to big coffee companies, Starbucks, Dutch Brothers, stuff like that. We like supporting small businesses here in Lincoln City. Lighthouse Coffee has probably some of the best coffee in town, so definitely check them out. They're really good. So let's get in here and we'll get started on the smart car. All right, so I don't know if this was covered in a video yet. I know that I came in here on one of my other episode videos and kind of gave a rundown, but the clutch actuator, and what this does is this actually rides inside this gear. So as the motor turns, it basically clutches in and clutches out automatically. Now, problem with this is that everything in this appears to be okay, except with some rust buildup and metal material here. With this being said, this unfortunately I'm not going to get into fixing, because this is the problem with the smart car. Okay, smart car is only worth about 5-6K if it was just fixed, flipped out, see ya, bye. My wife really loves these smart cars, okay? Happy wife, happy life. She does not like these Mercedes 3-cylinder engines. It already has problems. It was given to us because it had transmission issues. With all of this being said, that's why I bought the Honda. We're gonna Honda swap this smart car, figure out what I need to do, whether or not it's going to be doing a complete subframe swap, like what Faster Proms and PFI did, or SPI on YouTube already did. I kind of have a base. Or if I can get by just doing a motor and trans swap, modifying the cradle so everything kind of bolts back in as it needs to. So we'll just go from there. It's rainy, it's overcast. I tried to go up and see if the trailhead was open. There's a sign up now that says until further notice. I did go up the other road quite some ways and it's a straight war zone up there, so that's probably not going to be done for quite some time. Maybe my next day off I'll take you guys around Lincoln City. Fun things to do while you're here. I mean, everybody loves coming to the coast, so if I can do a quick little video of fun places to go to, see, eat, have fun, maybe that will be next week's. Today, smart car. We're going to figure out how far we can get on this thing. Basically, I completely gutted it so I could figure out if any of the wire harness and stuff over here, anything inside the compartment, if any mice or anything had gotten into destroying wires. Because I was also having an issue with the gauge kind of shutting off and turning back on when it wants to. And I correlated that with every once in a while when the gauge would shut off, the car would shut off. So it definitely has electrical gremlins. It definitely has some stuff going on with the transmission. Transmissions are horrible because not only do they electronically shift the gears, but it also electronically pushes in and out the clutch. So they overcomplicated these things. I hate them. They're horrible, but my wife loves the car. So we are going to make this car reliable with a Honda, and we're going to be able to get this thing scooting pretty quick too, because 900 cc's, Honda's 2,400 cc's, are going 3 times fold on the displacement. And then this has 60 horse. I believe that motor has 190 or 210. I'm not 100% sure, but I'll figure it out. Still with the Honda, it's going to be economical. We're going to be able to drive this around, and plus we can fit this on a smart car rack, which goes onto the back of RVs. So let's just get into it. I gotta get this bike out because it is just in the way. Little garage. So, all right. All right, so first things first, we need to get the trunk lid off, we need to get this whole rear surround off, and then we need to get these tail lights out. All of these are 6 points, make it a blast to work on. I actually didn't have a set small enough for this car, so I had to go pick me up a set. I picked up some males and females because they use 2 different kinds on this car. I absolutely hate, so we'll get into this, start tearing it apart, and see how far we can go from there. All right, so now that we got the tailgate off, we have to get the this whole rear quarter and skirt off of the smart car. So they have these little 6 point in here along the hatch, and then inside the fender skirt, and then down in front in the lower rocker. We'll get down to what's got to actually come off the back of here so we can start rolling the motor. Pulling off this, you can pull off fender, rear apron, fender, all individually. I'm just going to pull it all in one piece. They all do. The one nice thing about smart cars is that they all snap together. All the body panels kind of click themselves together. And then there's hardware throughout the vehicle to just keep everything from moving. So we just got to disconnect the taillights. We got to pull the fuel door and the gas cap, get all that removed, and then this whole thing should be able to slide off of here. So we'll get in here and get this off. So cool thing with these cars, you just kind of slightly pull out, they pop out, and you just kind of run your hand along the body seam. And then same with the other side. Pull the gas cap off. Yeah, you don't want to rip your fuel door and stuff off. And then pull straight out on these. And then there's lower clips. I'll pop the clips off. And this side as well. We also got some electrical connections. And then set this aside. All right, so next step with the smart car, we have to remove the bash bar and potentially the exhaust. I'm gonna see if I can leave that on because it does look like the hangers are attached to the subframe here. So off will be the bash bar, and then we gotta start disconnecting. So there's 3 main lines. There's gonna be your brake lines, your radiator coolant lines, and then your fuel lines. I believe smart cars will have a feed and return hard line on the radiators. Should have 2 hoses for the brake for left and right rear, and then I believe a feed and return for fuel. Unfortunately, I don't have enough hose clamps and hose pinchers to be able to accommodate those, and I did check this morning, nowhere sells them, so we're gonna use what we got. I'm probably just gonna drain the coolant and not have to worry about that. So yeah, these bash bars, you got 3 bolts. They're all going to be 6-point. I am using a T45. We have 2 facing out, 1 facing from the inside, so that's gonna be a lot of fun. We'll get this off and see what else we need to start disconnecting. The rear clip off, inner fender liners off, crash bar off. There's 4 big bolts that hold the entire motor, transmission, everything. It's one cradle, which is similar to the Honda. The Honda is actually built on a cradle. So I'll snag the camera and show you what we gotta do next. So the next step in here is we have, if you look in here, you have your filler neck here, this line and this line. We gotta disconnect it off the regulator. And then we gotta disconnect this line here, which goes into the fuel rail. So that's your feed, return, and then we also, down here in the lower part, we have these right here. This is gonna be an ABS wire or speed sensor. We got 2 brake lines, and then the other speed sensor. We're gonna hose clamp these 2, disconnect the wires, and then we also should have 2 radiator coolant hoses, which we can get to once we start lowering the cradle down. So we just need to get this fuel line disconnected. Somebody's already been in here because it's got a hose clamp on it. From the factory, they'll have these compression fittings, so looks like this has already been disconnected a couple times. And then let's figure out what we can do to either disconnect the regulator or at least separate the regulator so we don't have to deal with it right now. I'd much rather worry about fuel lines later, but I also don't necessarily want a giant mess on my hands. So we're probably just gonna pop that open, and then we're gonna probably just disconnect this from the harness and then pop it up and out of the way. So just a little plug right here, push down, pull out, and then this should slide up, which it does. And we'll just watch that when we go to lower the engine assembly. Kind of got in here, crack this loose. Give her some twists. She'll probably spew a little bit of gas, which she did, which isn't a problem. disconnect it from the engine harness out and off to the side. We'll just put it up here. Bam. All right, so now we got to get underneath it, disconnect the radiator hoses and the brake lines, and probably just pull the speed sensors and set those aside as well. Most likely they're not going to communicate with the Honda ECU, but the nice thing with Hondas is the VSS or wheel speed sensor is actually in the transmission. So hopefully I can just get rid of all of this that is the smart car and just be left with a really cool motor and drivetrain in a very small and lightweight car. Let's hop underneath the car and start disconnecting those lines. Okay, I don't know the easiest way to show this, but so these two hoses, we gotta get some hose clamps on. Now the cool thing is that these hose clamps, they're like hose pinchers. I like using these. I buy mine all the time at AutoZone because they're super cheap. It's like $3.99 for a pair, $4.99 for a pair. But we gotta get these disconnected. There's gonna be two clips on the back side of these hard lines that can separate the hard lines from the hoses over here. The hoses are part of the chassis, so we're gonna leave those here. And then when we go to disconnect the cradle and lower it all down, the hoses will be able to swing away out of our way, and then the hard lines are actually part of the cradle. The only other thing that I have to worry about is the two wheel speed sensors, which are the ones above it, in which we can just disconnect at the hubs and just roll those wires out of the way. It's a bit hard to get a camera, plus my big old Sasquatch hands in here. So I'm going to probably just turn the camera off, get this done, and then on to the next step. So, sounds good? Sounds good. So as you can tell, we got the hard lines and the hoses disconnected. I have my hose clamps on there. Also disconnected all the vehicle speed sensors. So the only thing that is left to do to be able to get this thing lowered is to disconnect the harness. But unfortunately, the harness, I don't see any major plugs. Usually you have like body plugs that you can disconnect for quick access. So I got this big bolt here and three other ones. I'm going to start disconnecting those. I'm going to do the front ones first, which are way up there in the corner. You can see the one right there in the middle of the screen. I'm going to get a jack under here and get it jacked up. Get some weight off of the jack stands. I'm going to disconnect the front ones, disconnect the rears, and then slowly lower this down. So I don't know how this is going to go, but we'll find out. All right.
What I would do for you. What I would do for you.
so I gotta figure out how I can get those radiator hoses disconnected and the AC line. So I'm gonna figure that out and I'll get back to you guys. All right, so was able to figure out, I did still have some electrical connections to unhook, and unfortunately the radiator hoses are compression fit to the hard lines that go all the way to the front of the car. So I just cut the radiator hoses. Luckily there wasn't a lot of coolant left in the car. I did try to evacuate the car of fluids and AC refrigerant prior to starting this, because all of those lines need to be disconnected. See if this will roll on out of here. And I need to make some room first, so let's see. Is it in gear? Is she in gear? Okay, never mind. Unfortunately, without the power, it won't move the electronic actuator into neutral. So there's that. That's fun. So I'll probably have to drag this out of here one tire at a time. So it's not gonna be pretty, but all right, guys, and that is the smart car engine removal. Now, I also have to, just curiosity, I would like to figure out what is going on in it. I'm assuming it's the electronic controller in the transmission itself, which would have been a multiple thousands of dollars worth of repair at a Mercedes dealer. And the Honda reliability, I'm not going to screw with this. So hopefully next week we'll possibly start digging into the Honda, or start getting this prepped ready for test fitting and making sure that I can figure out where I can put this. So if anybody's got a smart car, great engine, bad transmission, let me know. All right, guys, so on the smart car, so you have your shift actuator, which actually goes in right there, this hole here. That is electronically controlled. Also, I took the air box off so you can see this. This is the shift servo. So this servo puts it in first, second, third, reverse. The actual shift linkage, which is right there, that little nub here, that will only go from park to neutral. That is it. So, unfortunately, the reason why I deem this to be not worth it is because the shift actuator over here, so this guy, OE replacement. The reason why I say OE replacement is because there are a lot of people that have problems buying cheap parts. And what I mean by cheap is if you go on Amazon, you hop on Rock Auto, any website, you'll find this shift actuator, complete unit, ready to go. Slam it into the car for about 130 bucks, 150 bucks, 200 bucks. But if you read the reviews and you look into what people are saying about the products, there are some times where this will only last a week or 3 weeks. There was one where not a single review showed that the actuator put into the car worked for them at all. I'm not going to spend that money. So If I were to buy a shift actuator, I would buy a Soch. The Soch brand is factory Mercedes, but they're $380 a piece. I'm just not wanting to spend that. And then you have the other issues where this servo here, the shift servo, that can be over $300 a piece and more. Factory OE part, way over, almost $500. And then before pulling the motor and stuff out, when we started having issues, I was getting a secondary air injection pump code, which is this guy here. The secondary air injection pump basically if I remember correctly, it bypasses the EGR and it allows fresh air into the exhaust system while the engine is warming up. The problem is that if this goes bad, it can throw a code, it can make the engine kind of stumble, and then you also have your secondary air injection circuit, which is this guy here on the side of the block. All of those were needing replaced. And with all of that needing replaced, the problem is that I would be well into, if not including over $1,000 for this car, just in parts, and the possibility of it not working. That's the problem for me. I don't want to invest money in stuff that's not going to work or not going to function. And then don't even get me started on the shifter, because this shifter, I'm about ready to just kick it out of there, because they take security spline drive sockets to get out, which I do not have. So that's the gist of it for today. As you can see, it is out. It is no longer a part of the car. And yeah, we did some damage today. Got it all out. Next is going to be, I got to get rid of this cradle. I might actually pull the motor and transmission out of the cradle itself and then potentially use the cradle for another idea. I'm not 100% sold on the Honda yet. If I can find a motorcycle that is fairly cheap, I can do a motorcycle swap. I think that would be a lot of fun. I just like the sound a crotch rocket makes, because it's got like 8, 10, 12,000 RPM rev limit. I like that idea. I like possibly putting a motorcycle engine in it. I really wanted to use the cradle itself and modify the cradle to fit the Honda engine and transmission. Only problem with that is I feel like the motor and transmission is way too wide for this cradle, even for me to be able to modify for it to work correctly. So, yes, there are options. And this is officially day one of this. The other, God, I don't even remember last time I worked on this. I think it was like a week or two ago. I pulled out a couple things and started to kind of tinker, see if I could get stuff to work, but it wasn't, and there's just way too much stuff going wrong with this that I just don't want to mess with. Cool thing is that with the Honda, you get Honda reliability. I won't have to deal with this Mercedes garbage anymore. It's a Honda. We're not going to have an issue. The car's got 159,000 miles on it. If I'm nice to it and we just drive it like how we're going to drive it, when we take the bus somewhere, we don't want to drive the bus. This is the car that we're going to just buzz out to, have fun for the day, and call it. Like, it's not going to be an all-out performance car. It's not going to be like a weekend go-getter, take it down to the track, have some crazy fun nights. Maybe. You never know. I might. World is our oyster. I have no idea at this point what I'm doing, but the cool thing is it is out. So, next thing we have to do is we have to figure out what's going on with the Honda. So, yeah, let's figure this out. All right, guys, I threw the seats back in the car because I needed somewhere to put my bike, but we got the motor, transmission, and cradle out from the car. We got everything back in here nice and tidy. Got the bike sitting in here. So we are getting closer to 1,000 subscribers. Would like to thank everybody that is already here. I would like to thank those that will be showing up here in the near future. You guys will probably start watching the videos and see that earlier I stated the first 1,000 subscribers. Whoever is in Oregon that has a project or has something that they want to get done, whether it's car related, bus related, house related, doesn't matter. Comment that you're in Oregon, and then once we hit that first 1,000 subscribers, I'll pick somebody. I'll try to get in contact with you, and we'll make it happen. I can give up some of my time for all of you guys watching my crazy videos. So I would like to say thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for taking time out of your day to watch me do the stuff that I enjoy doing. Weather is getting better. We're going to be getting back on the bus here pretty soon. We just only really have one good day a week to be able to work on it. And unfortunately, I work all the time. So my Sundays, I try to get out and do something so I can get you guys at least one video a week. So at least it keeps you guys engaged and it shows what I'm doing, you know? So with that being said, I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you. My wife appreciates you guys. Let's keep it motivated. Let's keep it growing. Tell your friends. Tell your friends' friends. Tell people on the street, hey, you seen this crazy dude, Atlas.Skoolie, making a YouTube channel, doing whatever. You need some help? I'll help you out. Leave me a comment. Let me know how I'm doing. I always like criticism. So if you guys want to see something different, if I'm doing bad when I'm recording, if the audio is not good, let me know. I am still learning. I'm still trying to figure out all this stuff out. So I appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.